Upper cross syndrome is a pattern of muscular imbalances and postural distortions present in the torso, neck, and shoulders. It is called upper cross syndrome because the imbalances present form a cross. Majority of people suffer from upper cross syndrome due to increased technology use and poor posture. Poor posture is a result of two things: weakness and inactivity in muscles that are supposed to pull the back upright, and overactivity and tightness in muscles that pull the back forward. This video will discuss the corrective exercise continuum and its 4 phases in order to help correct your posture as fast as possible. We will primarily be looking at the shoulder impairment regarding arms falling forward. Before beginning any type of corrective exercise continuum, it is important to begin by assessing your client. Here I have my client performing an overhead squat. As you can see, her arms are falling forward, which can be due to overactive muscles such as the lats and pectoralis major and minor. Underactivity can be coming from the mid and lower traps, rhomboids, and rotator cuffs. Some potential injuries can be headaches, biceps tendinosis, shoulder impingement, and shoulder instability. Here we can also see her lower back arches. This can be due to overactivity in her lats and erector spinae, and underactivity coming from her glute max, hamstrings, and core stabilizers. Some potential injuries can be hamstring, quad, and groin strains, along with low back pain. Another type of assessment that can be done is a range of motion assessment. Here we will see decreased shoulder flexion, decreased glenohumeral internal and/or external rotation. Some common compensations will be shoulder elevation during the rotation test. This can come from overactivity in the upper traps and levator scapulae, and underactivity in the rotator cuff, rhomboids, and middle and lower traps. After further assessment, we would now be ready to begin our corrective exercise continuum. The first phase is the inhibit phase. To begin, we will focus on relieving some tension coming from the overactive muscles, in this case being our upper traps and pectoralis major and minor. This first exercise is going to help with our thoracic spine mobility. We will have the client lay on the floor with feet and butt touching the ground and upper back on the foam roller. From here, you will lift your butt and slowly roll up and back. The second phase is known as the lengthening phase. The goal here is to lengthen the muscles by static stretching or neuromuscular stretching techniques in order to help reduce stiffness, increase range of motion, and improve your posture. The first stretch shown focuses on lengthening our pectorals. It can be done by standing in the middle of a doorway with one foot in front of the other. Bend your elbow to a 90-degree angle and place your forearms on each side of the doorway. Shift your weight onto your front left foot, leaning forward until you feel a stretch in your chest muscles. Hold for 15 seconds, relax, then return to starting position. This should be repeated about 10 times. The second stretch focuses on the latissimus dorsi. Here, you will kneel behind a stability ball and place your fists, thumb pointing up, on the ball. Slowly roll the ball toward the right side of your body while keeping your abdominal muscles engaged. When your arm is in line with the side of your body, gently lean to your right shoulder to stretch the lats. Hold for 30 seconds, then switch arms. Lastly, you will target your upper traps by gently pulling your head to the side so your ear approaches the opposite shoulder. Hold for 10 to 15 seconds and then switch sides. third phase is known as the activation phase. The goal here is to activate the muscles identified as underactive or weak. In this case, we'll be focusing on our lower traps and rhomboids. The first exercise my client will be performing is a bent over lateral raise. The goal here is to maintain a neutral back and make sure to squeeze your scapulae once your arms reach the top, to really emphasize on strengthening our lower traps and rhomboids. Next up, I have my client performing face pulls. The goal here will be to extend your arms fully and bring them all the way back, making sure to squeeze your shoulder blades as well to really focus on targeting your lower traps and rhomboids. The last phase is known as the integrate phase. This phase uses dynamic total body exercises that are progressed to solidify and coordinate the changes made. The goal here is to improve total body coordination, improve movement patterns, and enhance performance. Here I have my client performing a cable squat to row exercise. This is a unique exercise that combines squat and cable row. It builds your quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, as well as your lats, traps, rear shoulders, biceps, and forearms. In order to perform a squat to row, one will need to set up handles of a pulling machine to slightly lower than hip level. Stand at a distance where you can feel tension on the lats at the starting position of cable squat row. Your feet must be shoulder width apart and slightly angled outside. Put a slight arch on your back by pushing your hips out. Tighten your core, and while holding the pulley handles with your arms in extended position, descend to the bottom position of the squat by bending at the hips and then the knees. The weight must be on your heels. At the bottom position, your hips must be lower than your knees, which should be in line with your toes. Squat back up by driving your heels to the floor, extending your knees, then hips. At the top position, contract your lats and row the weight to your midsection in one full motion. Pull your scapulae back to get a good squeeze in your lats, traps, and rear shoulders. As you go back to starting position, resist the weight while simultaneously descending to the bottom squat position. Repeat the exercise until you have completed the targeted number of reps. This concludes the corrective exercise continuum. In order to correct upper cross syndrome, one must perform these exercises daily.